Greetings, melee fighters. I'm Jonathan, also known as the PC Genie. I'll step out of the way to give you a clear review. So yes, I recently went to, as you might have known from the vlog video I did earlier, I went to the May Melée, which is an annual event, and guess what, it's towards the end of May, surprise surprise. But basically, it's a sort of HEMA event that has quite a few things going on. So the footage I've got, to be honest, because of, I was usually in the lessons or some videos had some problems and things like that, the footage I've got is mostly from the tournament, so it's just actual fighting. But there were also lessons going on. There were, of course, the tournaments, so for sort of people who haven't got as much protective equipment like me, because we can't afford it, there were the sort of synthetic tournaments for things like two-handed sword and sword and shield, and similarly there were steel equivalents of the same, and it's very good actually. It's one of the first HEMA events I've ever been to that's not the one called Swords and Cider held by my local, actual club. This is one that's actually more sort of broad and a larger event, even if it's not as big as some of the extreme ones like Swordfish and Fight Camp. But it gives an idea of what a HEMA event would be like. So in terms of the things we did, of course we were setting up, and there was someone who was trying to be promoted to a sort of rank of scholar. I think it's a bit like, a qualification to become a teacher and instructor. I'm not 100% sure on that, but part of it included a challenge where basically anyone who wanted to do a fight would do that for a few bouts and then fight against him, which I have to say is very impressive. A, because he had to make sure to do at least competently, even if the wins and losses weren't as important, against everyone, which included, people like me who did sort of Italian styles of two-handed swords, people using all sorts of different weapons, people using different, ones from different treatises, people with their own different personal styles, so some who might be more aggressive or defensive, or might want to charge and grapple, all kinds of things, an eclectic mix of people, and all having to be, having to perform fairly well against all of them, which was very impressive. And to top that off, one of the things I didn't like about the event, which is no fault of their own, is the fact that it was very hot. First day we arrived there, according to the sort of thermometer in my mum's car, it was around 32 degrees Celsius. I'll probably put a thing on screen for what it is in Fahrenheit, but yeah, suffice it to say, it was extremely hot. Now, you can imagine with the padded gambesons and things you have to wear to fight with steel weapons, it's a bit like being in said very hot weather in a winter coat. You've got thick, padded gear on top of the fact that you're out in extremely bright and sunny weather. So it was no surprise that the guy trying to become a scholar was having to take quite a few breaks in between for, just people chucking water on him towards the end, sitting under a parasol for a few minutes because it was just unbearably hot. So kudos to him, he did exceptionally well considering the amount of fatigue, fighting against everybody for about an hour, and having all of that heat going on and having to outsmart the opponents and doing all of that at once. So that was that, and that's just the very beginning. Beyond that, there were various lessons. So I, for example, did some lessons in rapier. There were some lessons in Highland broadsword and Taj, actually done by some Scots wearing kilts, which made it all the more realistic feeling. And people doing stuff like Montante, which is a bit like a longsword but even bigger, about as tall as a man. Even stuff like German longsword, doing stuff like Schielhaus and Schwertschaus, which are these sort of weird helicopter movements and things, which I don't have room to perform really. But yes, quite a range of activities, so no matter what sorts of things people wanted to do, there was at least something for everyone, and that's one of the things I found quite good. So you had the general camp atmosphere and people being quite friendly. It was certainly good. You get some events you go to where people aren't that nice, you know what I mean. You get some where people just want to do their stuff and just go and don't want to talk to anybody. But I found that at that particular event, the May Melée, people were very friendly and nice. I was certainly happy to be around them and, sharing stories of the sparring and things that have happened in the past and stuff like that. It was all good. Good bit of companionship, I suppose you could call it. brothers in arms, that sort of thing. And the tournaments were also very impressive. People who won, I certainly felt like they earned their victory. It's not like some scenarios where people are just sort of doing cheap shots for points and stuff like that. It was proper full-on stuff. So yeah, I very much enjoyed it. Now, in terms of myself as a channel, this means that in my future videos, because I have been learning more about different styles of single-handed and two-handed weapons, I am also going to be able to produce better content now, because, obviously I knew stuff from the club and have been learning HEMA and studying manuscripts as best as I can beforehand, but having people actually show you certain techniques and helping, being assisted in understanding what certain people mean in these manuscripts by this and that and the other and their reasonably translated stuff, it was good. So hopefully that means I should be giving you much better videos in the future. So yes, that's it for now, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!